My one and only goal this summer is to be outside as much as possible, touching so much grass, and ideally at the same time be eating and drinking something yummy on a blanket, surrounded by friends, or on my own is cool too. I thought it was time for another picnic video. This one in particular includes so many wonderful, easy, summery ideas. If you do actually end up bringing any of these meals to a potluck, feel free to share a picture on your Instagram story and tag me at Mina_Rome. The first and most important picnic food category, in my opinion, is handheld meals or snacks. Starting with these super simple and super tasty Fava Wraps. Those are fava beans. I have not had those since I was a young child. Transfer the drained and rinsed beans to a large pot. Also add some extra water, cumin, and salt. Bring that up to a quick simmer. In the meantime, go ahead and finely mince some garlic and some spicy peppers. I had jalapeños in my fridge, so that's what I went with. Add both to the pot, followed by some lemon juice and olive oil. And continue to let this simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes. And towards the end, you're going to start mashing down onto the beans. It's best to do that with a fork or a potato masher. Taste test, see if you need to add anything else. I ended up adjusting the flavor with a bit of date syrup, as well as more salt. For the wraps, I also made a quick yogurt sauce by combining unsweetened soy yogurt, olive oil, white wine vinegar, salt and pepper. And then I'm building the wraps. So first I'm adding a few tablespoons of the bean mixture, then a couple tomato slices, some chopped parsley, 1 to 2 tablespoons of the yogurt sauce, a little bit of sesame seeds, and some baby spinach. Don't forget to toast the wraps for about 2 minutes on each side. Yeah, and then, you can serve them right away or pack them up and take them with you on your next picnic venture. They're so good. Next are these summery, crispy tofu, mango and basil rice paper rolls. Cut a block of tofu into sticks, add some cornstarch and salt, and make sure to massage the starch into the tofu a little bit. Now transfer the sticks to a non-stick skillet with quite a few tablespoons of vegetable oil. I'm using a bit more oil than I would normally in order to give the tofu more of a deep fried flavor. Cook the tofu for 2 to 3 minutes on each side, rotating the 4 sides as needed. Next, prepare the glass noodles by simply just pouring some hot water on top and letting them sit for about 10 minutes. Now grab the zucchini, and using a vegetable peeler, you're gonna turn the zucchini into noodles as well. Cut the mango into strips. The best part of this recipe, in my opinion, is this basil dressing. Simply just blend up a bunch of fresh basil, lemon zest, lemon juice, be careful of the pits, fresh garlic, salt, vegetable oil, vegan sour cream. You could also go with yogurt or cream cheese of some kind, and some water. And now assemble all the ingredients on a wet sheet of rice paper. Put everything into the center, whatever order you like here, and whatever ratios you prefer. Once the paper is nice and malleable, start rolling these up. I like to start with the side that's closest to me, folding that over the filling, then tucking in the sides and rolling the wrap away from me. There you go. Continue building as many summer rolls as you would like. Perhaps sprinkle over some sesame seeds. These are really nice because the sauce is already inside the rolls, so you don't necessarily need to bring another dip. Let's shift gears a little bit and look at a sweet recipe option. So here I made these lovely pancake sandwiches. I haven't made my fluffy pancakes on here in a minute, so don't mind if I do. In a large mixing bowl, I first mixed together all the wet ingredients, and then I added all the dry ones, mixed it all up, and I let the batter sit for a few minutes as I brought a nonstick skillet with a little bit of vegetable oil up to medium/medium-high heat. And then I'm adding about a heaping ice cream scoop of batter per pancake. But yeah, you can also use any other pancake recipe that you like here. The fun part to me is to create little sandwiches. I spread the pancakes with a layer of cashew butter, also added a bit of salt and cinnamon, and then some apple slices. And then lastly, of course, a second pancake of equal size. Yeah, these are really good. And they're quite filling as well because of the cashew butter. You could do peanut, almond, you could even do Biscoff spread. I feel like you can never go wrong with bringing homemade oat bars or oat bites. For instance, these no-bake cinnamon raisin bites I am so in love with, and they only need a few recipe steps and ingredients. Place a sheet of wet parchment paper into a brownie pan and set that aside. To a small saucepan, add the vegan butter, date syrup or a similar syrup, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and a bit of vanilla. Bring everything to a quick simmer until the butter has melted and the sugar dissolved. Place all the dry ingredients inside a large mixing bowl. Quick cooking oats, a crunchy cereal, some ground flax seeds, some salt, lots of cinnamon, and the raisins. Give that a good mix, and then pour in the wet ingredients. Mix everything with a spatula, and then transfer that to the baking tin. And now using lightly buttered hands, you're going to press down onto the mixture as tightly as you possibly can. Once you think you've pressed down tightly enough, go ahead and press down some more. Ideally, you would even put a plate or a second baking pan on top of the oat bars like so, before letting everything rest in the fridge for at least 3 hours. Best would be overnight. And then you can go ahead and cut this into pieces. Because they're not baked, the cinnamon flavor in these is so much more intense, and it's just so good. Reminds me of a Cliff Bar. So here I was testing the new Nami strawberry matcha, which tastes really interesting. It has a really strong berry flavor, but then it's also not sweet. Also, here's some more older recipes of mine that I think you should try. The chickpea pesto wraps from this video, these Swedish-inspired cinnamon buns from this video, and these somewhat healthy cookie dough oat brownies. Alright, now let's move on to some non-handheld recipes. First, we have a salad that even people who aren't the biggest salad fans will enjoy. I can attest to that. This one's Caesar salad adjacent, I would say. Transfer a can of rinsed chickpeas to a baking sheet, drizzle over some olive oil, some salt, and some spices. Mix everything up well, and then allow these to bake until golden brown and slightly crispy. I'm also cutting up some smoked tofu here. And then I'm letting that pan fry for about 8 minutes or so, making sure to let the tofu somewhat cool down afterwards. And then really the only vegetable, romaine, so I'm gonna cut that up. And then prepare the dressing inside a large mixing bowl. So that's gonna be unsweetened soy yogurt, a tiny bit of vegan mayonnaise, mustard, cashew butter, white wine vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then bring everything together. It reminds me of like a fast food restaurant type salad. It's genuinely so nice, and I put it into these little jars because you could technically also eat the salad straight from the jar. So to my little picnic here, I ended up bringing said salad plus the fava bean wraps from recipe 1, and that was a really good combo. Alright, so this next recipe is going to be another salad. This one has a very different vibe to the previous one. It's very light and fresh, and it uses different types of melon. Using an ice cream scoop, I'm first scooping the seeds out from both melons. I've got one cantaloupe and one Gallia melon. I'm also going to be using the same ice cream scoop to cut the melons into pieces. So they're not going to be perfect spheres, but I actually really like how this looks. It got super dark all of a sudden here. I'm also chopping up some tomatoes, some red onion, and some vegan feta, although I'm just using my hands here to crumble it up. Give everything a quick mix. And then put together the dressing, which is made up of fresh lime juice, some olive oil, salt, that's it. And then I would pair the salad with some yummy bread. This type of baguette is crazy nostalgic to me. I'm just immediately transported back to 6th grade, coming home from school, secretly watching MTV and eating an entire store-bought garlic baguette like this one. Yeah, I only had a little bit of the salad because most of it I took with me to the coziest and most wholesome indoor potluck / planned workshop that some of my friends hosted.
I'll show you how I do this. So the first step, take your bag and add in a little bit of akadama just on the bottom. Oh, by the way, this is akadama. It's a hardened clay and it works really well as a substrate for plants. It's most often used for bonsai.
On to the next recipe. This delicious lemon tofu ricotta pasta bake. Bring a big pot with salted water up to a boil, add your pasta, and let it cook until almost completely tender. During the last 1 to 2 minutes of cooking the pasta, add the baby spinach to the water as well. Then drain the pasta and spinach remains, and then transfer it to a big pot or bowl and mix in your favorite store-bought marinara sauce. Taste test and possibly season with extra salt and pepper if necessary. Then transfer everything to a large casserole dish. Also preheat your oven at this point to 190 degrees Celsius. Next, blend up the ingredients for the quote-unquote ricotta. The firm plain tofu, lots of lemon zest, lemon juice, olive oil, oat milk, and salt. This may take a few minutes. Add the tofu mixture to the pasta bake. You can do this in little spoonfuls, which is what I did, or you can mix the ricotta into the pasta. Whatever you prefer. I definitely would not skip out on adding a layer of vegan pizza cheese. And I'll let everything bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Again, the weather was horrible, so I just had dinner inside. Bakes like this are amazing for picnics because they feed a lot of people. They're just so cozy. Oh, and here's a few more older recommendations. The vegan Käsespätzle bake from last year goes insane. The cauliflower pasta bake from this budget video, or my recent tofu quote-unquote enchiladas. They're also very, very yummy. Last but not least, I thought I would include a little drink idea. Been obsessed with making lemon berry mint water. It's nothing too crazy. First, I cut half a lemon into slices. I transferred that to a big bowl, and then the second half I squeezed into the bowl. Then I added about half a cup, maybe a little more, frozen blueberries, plus 4 cups of water. Also, a little twig of mint. Here you could also include some maple or agave syrup or sugar. I kept it unsweetened though. I let this sit for about 10 minutes. Then I scooped out the lemon, mint, and berry pieces, almost all of them. This, by the way, is gonna go into the fridge to be used for a second or third batch. And then you can pour this over ice. if you're taking this with you, it probably makes the most sense to transfer this to some sort of thermal bottle. I do have another picnic video from, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. I will link it down below as well. I don't know what I'm saying in that video, but I'm sure it's good and helpful, hopefully. So my camera randomly cut out here. So that is it for the outro. Enjoy your picnics, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time. Bye!